Hey, welcome everybody. My name is Mortuja Reza. So I share mostly here study abroad, career, and travel blogs in my channel. But unlike other videos, today I have something different for you guys. So today I have with you my cousin, my little brother, Samin Zarif. Uh, study in Canada now, right now. বাংলাদেশ থেকে Canada move করে, I guess, 2 years ago, if I'm not wrong,
Yeah,
Samin.
it has almost been 2.5 to 3 years. Yeah. I'm in your third
Fantastic.
year right now.
Yeah, so Samin is, I would say, have a good academic background, and then he went to study in Canada in 2 years ago. Right now, he's in Bangladesh for a vacation. So I thought I will have a chat with him about studying in Canada because I do get a lot of requests from my audience in this channel about studying in Canada. And Canada অনেক popular একটা destination overall always been. So আজকে যেটা আমি ডিসকাস করবো, Samin, thank you first of all for coming and joining me.
No worries at all.
And thank you. And today we will talk about studying in Canada, a little bit about background of Samin, to give you context and experience of studying Canada, why you choose Canada as a destination, not in other countries, the life in Canada so far, their career and peer prospect in Canada. Also, a little bit about his own podcast, a cricketing podcast, Bagher Adda. Huge shout out to that. And also, why cricket? My favorite and his favorite also. So let's deep dive into the fact of studying in Canada. We'll talk about all those things. So this is me first time doing this podcast. Samin, thank you so much for joining.
No worries, right? It's an honor because Tomar podcast, like Tomar videos, I've been following like for a long time now, and you're doing some great work, Mani. Europe, like Tomar lifestyle plus Mani পড়াশোনার দিক দিয়ে education wise, career wise, তুমি যেসব tips দিয়ে আসছো and মানে যেসব videos post করতেছো, I think it has helped a lot of people. আমার পরিচিত আমিও আমার অনেক friends থেকে এবং অনেক cousins সবাইকে recommend করি to watch your channel and Europe related কোনো কিছু জানতে চাইলে ওদেরকে বলে থাকি. I've been following your videos for a while now, so it feels great to be in the podcast. And নিজেও podcast করি, like sports. It's a different topic, a different genre, but আজকে একটা different কিছু করতে পেরে I feel like I'm excited about it.
Fantastic, thank you. And I always wanted Samin to be here with me because he's my little brother, and also it's my privilege also to have him. So Samin, first of all, for my audience and everybody, little bit background about you so that people understand where you're coming from and who you are, so that they can get that the message from you much better.
Yeah, so I completed my high school and my A levels and O levels from Bangladesh, from Dhaka. So I got done with my O levels from Sunnydale School and my A levels from SFX Green Herald. And I graduated in 2022, and then I moved abroad to Canada. Currently, I'm staying in Toronto and I'm studying at Schulich School of Business, majoring in accounting, third year accounting. And yeah, I just
Mhm.
want to pursue a career in accounting and get my CPA designation done. So that's my ultimate goal. And if you talk about my academics and my professional aspirations too, that's where I want to head towards. So that is a bit more about my background. And I have worked as a staff accountant for a private accounting firm in Canada, in Toronto, and I've signed an offer with KPMG for next summer as a staff accountant in their audit as an intern too. So that's a bit about my background and what I'm doing currently.
So a little bit summary, Jera Samin is finished his A level from Bangladesh, and then after that he moved to Canada and studying in Shul University. If
In
I am
Schulich School of
pronouncing
Business, yeah,
okay, School of Business, one of the top business school in Canada, right?
right.
And you were also have done, I think, some apprentice internship, and also you want to join KPMG next year. So next thing I will ask you, why Canada? Okay, why did you choose Canada? If you could have gone anywhere, USA, Australia. So why choose Canada and this program in specific?
So to be honest, I had different options as well. Initially, I wanted to go to the UK, and from my understanding and knowledge, you have also studied in the UK. You know a bit more about their education background too, and studying under the British curriculum as well in Bangladesh. I've always wanted to go to UK, but I ended up landing in Canada because of family support. Like I have an extended family there. My siblings are also studying in Canada as well. So, in terms of the comfort that I'm getting there and the support that I'm getting there, that has helped me to decide. to move to Canada. And in fact, in North America and in Canada in general, the education system, I would say, is far better from my research. So that, like, in terms of the support that I'm getting there, and at the same time for education, that's the sole reason why I've moved to Canada. And I feel like, the community there, the South Asian community there, you get a lot of people from your background, from your culture, right? So it's like easier to settle in and it's more comfortable there in that regard. So that is why I have decided to move to Canada. And uh, I've specifically for my university, I've chosen the Schulich School of Business because I had different options as well. I applied to, I guess, two more universities, like Ryerson University and Guelph Universities, and I've chosen
Mhm.
bachelor's in Ryerson and Guelph. I've applied in for bachelor's in commerce, and for Schulich, I've applied for BBA. And the sole reason being, like, I've always wanted to pursue a career in business because my dad's a businessman as well. So I always had the interest towards commerce. It was like initially I didn't have a plan to go move towards accounting. It was more about getting into the school first and then deciding. So from my first
Mhm.
years of experience, like I was in BBA General first. So it's similar system in Canada as well. You first 2 3 years you do BBA General and then you select a particular specialization. In my first 2 years, I felt like I enjoyed accounting the most, and
Mhm.
I felt like it was something that was doable from my end. I am like
Okay.
literally someone who can work for long hours, can sit in front of a monitor and do the grind for long hours.
Yeah.
And that is why I felt like accounting was more of my job. I am not
Mhm.
necessarily the most creative person, so marketing
Mhm.
and other stuff wasn't something. I definitely applied for marketing as well for different marketing positions for internships too. But then again, I felt like marketing as a subject is something I can't be pursuing because it
Okay.
needs a lot of creativity and all that stuff. So accounting was one thing which I feel like was meant like for me. And I felt like
Mhm.
I was doing well in that course. Like everything, like every other terms in accounting, maybe the practical applications of accounting all started making sense to me when I
Mhm.
started studying the subject itself. And then I felt like, okay, this is something I can do as in my professional career as well. So
And
accounting.
how do you choose this course, the application process? If you could share with the
Yeah, sure.
students who's gonna go for from Bangladesh, for example, to study abroad, the application process. Did you do
So the
IELTS or GRE or
application
something?
for the application process, I initially went to, I think the name of the organization is IRCC, but IRCC was mostly meant for universities like Ryerson and Guelph. So Schulich School of
Okay.
Business is under York University, and York University isn't a client of IRCC. So for York University's application, it was more about going to OUCC, or there's this particular website, I forgot the name, but it's like a very popular website for applications in Ontario and in Canada. So I went to the
Okay.
website and it was just a normal procedures. I filled in all the boxes, whatever came in front of me. Like it was I think 3 4 years ago, so my memory is a bit vague, but
Mm-hmm.
it was just a simple procedure. I went to the website, I chose my universities, I filled in all the necessary boxes, and I collected all the documents which were needed from my school and
Mm-hmm.
from everywhere, like all my ECAs and everything. I collected all my documents, my results and everything.
So you did it all. Sorry, you did all by yourself.
Yeah, I did all by myself. So for Ryerson
Mhm.
and Guelph, an agency helped me, but then again, I didn't end up taking that offer from those universities. So mostly
Okay.
everything for my university, for what from where I'm like for Schulich, everything I did it myself. So I didn't get any external help. It was just about, I feel like with the introduction of technology and everything, like you have everything in front of you. You don't need external help for all these. So you just go
Exactly.
to the
Exactly.
website, you just go to the necessary website and you just fill in the boxes,
Mm-hmm.
follow all the steps. And if you're stuck with something, go to YouTube. There are like hundreds of channels maybe helping you to
Yeah.
study abroad, to go to Canada, right? So watch
Yeah.
those videos and then you can probably end up, having like a good conclusion.
Yeah. So to draw a summary for the people here, you choose Canada because of your extended family living there,
Support
and
and at the
also
same time the education system.
education system, North American education system over British, let's say.
Yeah.
And then accounting is because you feel more comfortable and you see better career prospect for you, and
Yeah.
personally you feel much more adaptable
Yeah.
to that. And also the application process, you had to do IELTS, right?
Yeah, I
Or
had to
GMAT?
do IELTS. So the thing with Canadian universities is you don't need that. So it's one thing very important. I would
Mm-hmm.
like to let the viewers know. You don't need SAT for Canadian universities. So SAT is
Okay.
something you need for US, but for Canadian universities, IELTS is important. So having
What
like a
about
good
GRE and GMAT?
GRE and GMAT, I think anything which is probably equivalent to IELTS. So from my end, I felt like IELTS was the most I feel like accepted form of English communication proficiency test, right? So it's the most
Okay.
accepted form of proficiency test in Canada. So if you want to
Okay.
stay in the comfortable zone and if you want to make sure that you're going in the right direction, I think IELTS is your way to go. And for Canadian universities, you just need IELTS, nothing more than
Okay.
that. And you just need to have a good band score. The band score varies from universities to universities.
Yeah.
Your Schulich School of Business usually requires a band score of 7 out of 9, but
Okay.
other
Yeah.
universities or colleges may require a lesser band score of like 6 or 6.5. It really depends on the universities and from which background you're coming from. So from
And I presume
my
you.
Another
Sorry.
important thing, so for my case, I always studied in an English medium background, right? So
Yeah.
I had all the necessary prerequisites done. So we had O-level English, which is under the British curriculum, and those are most of the time accepted by universities. It is good to give IELTS. Like I would say, IELTS you would need it regardless for the application, the visa application process itself. You would need it. So getting done with IELTS is important. But for my universities, my university looked at my O levels grade as well, and they felt like, okay, it's good enough to get into
Mm.
the university. But for the visa
Okay.
application process, regardless, you need to do the IELTS. So IELTS is a
Yeah. So just because someone has, for example, in Bangladesh, a lot of misconception that you have money and you can go and study anywhere. You need to have a proper good as a score. You need to have a good academic background to get into this kind of universities, right? Isn't it?
yeah. I think money isn't enough. Like to get into a good university, you always need a good enough result. And especially when you're
Mhm.
applying for scholarships, there's another misconception that IELTS gives you good scholarships. That's not
Mm.
true. IELTS is just a
Exactly.
proficiency test. And if you're from
Yeah.
a Bangla medium curriculum, like that is when probably IELTS is more needed because universities usually don't accept that curriculum. So if you're from
Hmm.
an English medium curriculum, then again for universities, you're in a safe zone. But for visa application process, you would need that regardless. So IELTS is a must. And for
Exactly.
education background, for education, and I would say like money isn't enough. Like you need to have a
Hmm.
decent enough grade. So I know people, like I wouldn't call out names, but I know a lot of people who got offer from Schulich, but they
Uh-huh.
didn't end up getting into Schulich after their offer because their final A levels grade wasn't up to the mark or to the standard of Schulich. So
Mm.
for maths,
Okay.
they suppose for our A levels, they require like minimum two Bs and one C, and for maths, you have to have like a minimum of B. So that guy
Hmm.
ended up getting like a D in for his maths, and he didn't end up getting the final offer. So he got one conditional offer before the final exam of our A levels, but end of the day, because he couldn't meet the requirements, he didn't end up getting the offer, and he then went to like the normal business school of York. So York has two
Hmm.
business schools. One is the Schulich School of Business, which is the good one, and a normal business school, which falls under the normal curriculum of York. So he
Okay.
ended up
So
going to York, right? So that
So
is
the summary is that you need to have a good academic background. You need to have score good results in your O level, A level, or HSC or HSC, whatever. Then score IELTS
exactly.
as well, and then apply accordingly.
Yeah.
So because we are running late. So let's get into the study and life in Canada right now. You are in Canada right now from Bangladesh. Of course, you from English medium background. You have a certain social life and social background, and then end up being in a North American country. So, little bit share about the campus life, the life in Canada, or let's say academic experience. How do you see your university curriculum, the teaching method, the teacher, the professors, and then also a little bit about the campus life and the extracurricular activities in Canada.
So answering to your first question, like education wise, I would say like people like have a misconception that, going to Canada, everything is relaxed and everything is chilled. It's easier there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the case. You do like for like a professional degree like accounting, you do have to
Yeah.
study a lot. It's like y- hourly, like weekly for each course, it's like a 8 to 10 hours commitment. So studying is
Mm-hmm.
like a big aspect of your life in Canada. Like if you want to do well, if you want to go to like a big place, and you have to, end up investing a lot of time in your education and your studies. So for
So
any
it's not about going there to party.
no, it's not about going there for party. You can party, but there needs to be a balance. So
Yeah.
education is your first priority there. It's like academically, it's quite challenged, quite tough, and you're competing with, like, the competitors that you have with you. There are like, people, they're like, they hustle a lot there, they grind a lot
Mm-hmm.
there. So if you want to match their level, you do have to study a lot. So it's hard, but the best part about my education system, this education system that I'm getting there, is it's just not theoretical. I'm getting practical experience as well. So I'll just give you one small example of how, practical aspects work in Canadian education system. So for my university, in my first year business management course, so we had to prepare like a startup idea, right? So
Okay.
you saw how Shark Tanks work, right? So we literally
Yeah. Yeah.
assignment where we had to pitch our business in front of 3 to 4 judges. We have to
Okay.
prepare our own business idea. We had to prepare our own financial models. We had to, assess all the financial feasibilities of our idea and present that in front of the judges. We had to do the marketing ideas, the strategies, and everything, and we had to present it. So that is one thing, that is one aspect of our education which really impresses me. It's not just the
Wow.
theoretical aspects that I'm studying, it's not just the theories, it's also about the practical implications. So just recently in my accounting course, in my managerial accounting course, we had to suggest like a big business, like our company was Honda, and where we had to prepare a financial capital budgeting model in
Mm-hmm.
addressing one of the issues for them. So it's like a real world issue. We are preparing
Mm.
our own models, we are preparing our own solutions and presenting that to the class, right? So these
Wow.
are we are working with real companies, we are working with real entities, and we are figuring out problems within those business, and figuring out solutions from a business perspective. So it's not just about
Okay.
theories, it's implying that theory. So that's
Okay.
the
So
best part of the education system.
you were saying it's much more practical over there, and you
Yeah,
need to
there's a
study.
good
It's not all
balance
about
between practical and theory.
theory. Okay. So of course you didn't study in Bangladesh University, but do you see like any difference between Bangladeshi
Yeah, for
education and
sure,
the
because I have a lot of cousins and friends studying in Bangladesh, and they're
okay.
studying the same program, BBA. You would know that. So I asked a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people, like in fact, a while ago, I was asking my cousin in BBA program in Bangladesh, and what she said is their studies, what they do is mostly theoretical and it's pen and paper. So when we go to the
Mm.
exam hall in Canada, it's more about giving exams on an Excel sheet, maybe. Like most of my exams
Yeah.
is Excel sheets. So it's just plugging in the formulas and the numbers, and it's just answer right there. But for them, they have to do the maths, like they have to follow the traditional form of education. That's not the case in Canada. Like for most good universities in Canada, it's like more practical, more efficient, right? So
Okay.
when I talk to them, I see the difference. Maybe theoretical wise, they're studying the same thing, but practical implication wise, maybe Canadian education system is a bit ahead.
Exactly. So I guess that's the huge difference. And also from my experience, also I see that I did experience that as well. And then when you're talking about managerial accounting and everything, I had this nostalgia of study life. But nevertheless, you are so correct about this difference between the
I'll just give you
education
one
system.
example. Like I spoke to one of my cousins few days back, and they said they
Yeah.
have an Excel program for. I
Yeah.
think it was one of my friends, and he said they have a program for Excel, but the exam they have to give, it's all pen on paper. They don't have to do it
Ah,
on Excel. So what's the point?
wow.
So that's the
My God.
difference right there. We do everything practically. They do it on pen and paper, and when you do something on pen and paper, it's just in your mind. You can imply it. Like it's like application wise, you're lacking.
Yeah, that's a little bit shocker. So let's get into this advantages of disadvantages of studying in Canada. We have so far established the better education, the professors, the teaching methods, and everything is really good. What about, let's say, the weather, homesickness, and any challenges over there, being a foreigner living there? At the end of the day, this North America is mostly predominantly white Caucasians, and then you are let's say from Bangladesh, being an immigrant. Any challenges? How weather is always people talk about the Canadian weather. So little bit of advantage and disadvantage you see.
I feel like this is one thing which is the dynamic is changing in Canada in recent times with
Mhm.
a lot of immigration, South Asian immigration in Canada. You don't see, especially in a city like Toronto, it's mostly South Asian dominated city. You don't like there is, I feel like there's more South Asian, more brown people than white people. So that dynamic is changing right now. So for my case, it's different. And I'm staying with my family as well. I have my siblings there, I have my aunt there. So I don't get that homesickness usually, but for most
Hmm.
people, when I see my friends there, they do have that sickness because
Okay.
each day, every day from the morning to the night, they have to do everything by themselves, cooking,
Hmm.
cleaning your houses, doing your laundry, everything. You have to be independent. Regardless, you have to do all those work by yourself. So you
Okay.
definitely miss that luxury in Bangladesh, right? So, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
in a sense, that's a good thing because you're learning a lot there. So homesickness is a thing because you don't get to meet your family, your siblings, but at the same time you have to be a lot independent, and at times when you do, when you are into your academics, you're studying a lot and then you're doing part-time as well, you getting back home, you have to cook for yourself again, end of the day you get depressed, you miss your family, so homesickness
Yeah,
will be there. But getting above it, like making sure that you're one step ahead of that and you are controlling your emotions, it helps you win in life. Like if you show that dedication, if you show that passion, you can compete against that homesickness and everything like as such, right? So you
yeah,
have to
exactly. I
control
mean, you need
yourself.
to at the end of the day, you need to do your things, right? You need to grow and develop as a person. So,
And for
well,
answering to the other question, like sorry, for weather, another misconception that most people have, like they feel like whoever's coming to Toronto, I can say one thing, that it's not like we have winter throughout the year. It's a very big
okay.
misconception. Even in other
Yeah,
parts of Toronto, for other parts of Canada, like for first like 4 to 5 months in the summer, especially due to global warming and all that stuff, it's really really hot there. Summer, it's actually hot in Canada. It's not that humid, but it's still bad. But for winter, maybe yes, the temperature is a bit less. You will feel cold, but then again, it's like 5 months you make sure that you're adapting to that temperature, but for the next 4 to 5 months you're chilling, so there's like a
yeah.
good balance as well.
Exactly. And also, I mean, there's a different kind of vibe you get in the winter season. You have snow and everything. Of course, I think if you go a little bit further away from the Toronto, I think what's that state, Saskatchewan or something? How if I'm
Saskatchewan is very cold, like Saskatchewan,
uh,
Alberta, BC, British Columbia, these are really cold provinces, to be very
yeah,
honest. But like Toronto, like I would say Toronto is more popular, so we can use that as a benchmark, whoever's coming to
right.
entitled Toronto. It's a
Yeah.
bit different here.
Okay. So what about the career and peer prospects? I mean, right now there is some challenges in Canada going on based on the news as immigration laws and current Justin Trudeau being the prime minister. I think he's gonna go very soon, as far as my understanding of macro world. That I don't think he's surviving anymore in Canada. But so, what about the career and a permanent residency prospect? How do you see that?
So you make a really good point that Justin Trudeau is stepping down. And with the new
Hmm.
government coming in, the conservatives coming in, Pierre Poliver is a guy, type of a guy who is against immigration. He's against
Okay.
international
But,
students coming in because he feels like they are taking jobs for the locals. So locals will get more priority under the new
hmm.
government. So
Okay.
immigration will be tougher because under the current government, under the liberal government, the immigration system, especially from South Asian countries, they have exploited the system a lot. So they have come in, they came in, they seek refugee asylum. There
Hmm.
are a lot of asylum seekers in Toronto right now. So with all that in mind, the PR system currently it's in a challenging position because
Yeah.
a lot of people they just faked. everything to get into here. So they just
Yeah.
the initial plan for under the new government will be to get rid of all the fake immigrants and to make sure that the locals are in a good position because unemployment is probably at its record high in Canada. See, getting jobs is really difficult right now, and
Mm.
housing prices have reached massive heights. It's really expensive to lead a good lifestyle in Canada. You don't end The most important thing is you don't end up saving anything. Whatever you earn, even if you get a job, end of the day, after the end of the month, you don't have anything in hand. It's more like you earn daily, you spend it daily. You don't have anything left over to save, right? So it's
Yeah.
certainly challenging, and with it comes the PR challenges as well. One thing that I would suggest to the viewers here is whoever is willing to move to Canada and live like a proper sustainable life, they're willing to get a PR there, it's important to learn the French language. The French language is giving you enough points. It's giving you
Yeah.
like a lot of points in Canada right now. So with Pierre Polivier coming in, he's from Montreal as well. Montreal is a
Mm.
French dominated colony. So French has a lot of emphasis and priority in Canada. So for that, like people who knows French or who has that ability to learn a new language, they'll be someone who can, lead the race to get the PR. So for PR
Yeah.
applications, it's getting tougher. I don't know the exact specific details, but in order to be one step ahead, knowing the language is important because French is
Yeah.
the dominating language there. So do
Yeah. Yeah.
that and get a proper job. Like there's a lot of restrictions on what job you're doing, right? So
Mm.
in order to be eligible to get PR, you have to meet certain thresholds and requirements. So get like a proper job. Part-times wouldn't help you. One important thing is you can't go there, do like 20 like normal part-time sales job in some retail store. You can't be getting PR in that way. You have to have like a proper, maybe a corporate job or a full-time job to get one.
Exactly. So my one of my friend also living in Canada right now. He has a lot of experience from Bangladesh, HR, I think business partner or something. But I was talking with him as well. The life in Canada, the expensive lifestyle over there. I mean, but how do you see this? Because of there's so much immigration, মানে পাঞ্জাবি, শিখ, ইন্ডিয়ান অনেক দেখা যায়, কি অনেক ফানি ফানি কিছু ভিডিও দেখা যায় কানাডাতে অনেক। সো আলটিমেটলি কি মেরিটোরিয়াস যারা স্টুডেন্ট, people like you, do they also get affected by that?
I think we do get a bit affected by that, not completely, because we
Okay.
are there for education. We have like a solid reasoning. We are not just here to exploit that system, right? We have a different purpose. But then again, we are still immigrants. We are temporary residents.
Exactly.
We will be seeking the PR, or maybe we will be looking to get the citizenship at the same time. So we will ultimately, yeah, we probably might be in a better position right now because we have a legitimate job, or maybe we
Mhm.
have like a proper education background. We are going to a proper university, so that helps. Another thing is, something the new government will be stopping is people getting admitted to colleges and diploma programs. That's an important
Mm.
point because a lot of Punjabis and Indians, no disrespect to them, but they have been coming in, they have been going to colleges, getting admitted to colleges, but they're not studying. It's just a fake
This
college,
is
fake degree.
it's also from many, not only the
Not
new
only
government, but
Punjabis or Indians, it's from
Bangladeshi
Bangladeshis,
also.
Pakistanis, a lot of people, right? So
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
coming
yeah.
in, they're getting into a fake diploma, getting into a college program, and trying to, stand for the PR program. But the current government is making sure that, or the new government will be making sure that these college programs are excluded from the PR, procedure. Like whoever is getting into the diploma programs, they will make sure that they don't get the visa, or they can't, enter the country, because in order to be eligible, you have to have a proper education background and go to like a proper university. So that's one important point too.
Yeah, so from my experience, I would also say that, I mean, for the short term pain, I mean, long term gain for the proper immigrants, I think I would say. Uh, so our meeting gonna in 10 minutes, so you're just gonna ramp it up. So let's say, from my experience, this kind of government also, I think, is somehow better in long term because they create this balance, immigration balance. Okay, so I think unemployment যেটা বললা যে কানাডাতে অনেক বেশি এখন, expensive অনেক, I think, as per them, I know that buying a house is really expensive in Canada. So what do you say about the cost of studying in Canada? Should someone from Bangladesh, from your position, choose Canada over other destinations, or how do you see the cost management for going to Canada? How
I
do you see
think
that?
Canada is more of a country, it's for people who can get scholarships or who can afford the tuition fees. It's definitely more expensive. You're paying a
Yeah,
lot, like 30 to 40,000 per year Canadian dollars. It's a lot of money. So anyone who's
only
getting
for tuition fees,
only for
or
tuition fees.
only for tuition
Dorm
fees.
and all that is extra 10,000 maybe. So
Hmm.
thing is, if you want to go to Canada, it's like you have to make sure that either you're a really good student getting the scholarship or your dad has a lot of money in
Okay,
order to
exactly. So
afford the
for
lifestyle.
example, if you want to study in a proper good university in Canada, average to good university in Canada, if I'm not wrong, you need to বাংলাদেশি টাকায় 30-40 লাখ টাকা প্রতি মাসে বছর বছর লাগবে।
প্রতি বছর, and maybe at times it's more expensive. For universities like U of T, it's way above 50,000 too. So it really depends. But then again, at the same time, like compared to Europe, maybe it's way more expensive. So for in order to come to North America, in order to come to Canada, definitely the education system is great, but it's just
Uh-huh.
from an affordability perspective and from a financial perspective, it's a bit more.
আর যারা তোমার নট ইউ বাট আদার পিপল, এমন কোন আছে যারা কিনা ওখানে জব করে, পার্ট টাইম জব করে করে ওদের নিজের খরচ চালাতে পারে বা কিছু একটা, এরকম কোনো আছে কিনা চেষ্টা?
So it's really difficult. Like in order to
হুম,
pay the international tuition fees, part-time, the money that you get is just minimum wage. Minimum wage
এক্স্যাক্টলি,
will only help you to lead like a very minimal lifestyle. Like it helps you to get through all your day-to-day expenses. It doesn't pay your rent, or maybe it doesn't pay most of your expenses. It's just for food or maybe day-to-day expenses. But if you have like an internship, if you're a student, you're doing like an internship to your co-op, you are in a co-op program, the money that you get maybe it can help you to cover some of your fees, but not entirely. And even if you get into a full-time job, the amount that you earn there, it's not enough to afford full-time, international tuition fees. So in
exactly. You know,
no way,
also you
yeah,
have to
exactly.
balance the two, right? Study and
Exactly.
work.
In no way, I feel like part-time is enough to cover all your fees. So that's mostly
But
about.
living expense করতে পারবে, I think, if he's healthy
I
and
mean,
everything.
yeah, rent, maybe if they decide to go for like a cheaper option, maybe yes, $800 for rent. Then again, they don't end up having like enough, they don't have anything left in their hand to spend on other stuff, right? So it's just very tight. The budget is very tight for them too.
So, for example, if someone is want to really study in Canada, I would say for bachelor they need to have at least 40-50 lakh টাকা বাংলাদেশি টাকা per year budget. You think?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's it. And another thing is Toronto, like a lot of university scholarships are difficult to, like for me, education is no doubt it's really good. Just the finances, it's like really high.
Okay. So just because we are running out of time, two more things I would say. How do you see two things? I would say something you were excited about the future of world for you, and also something you were excited about the world of innovation. I know you are really involved in this tech innovation, AI, and everything, and following that into investment and everything. Something excites you about the world for you and for the world of innovations.
I feel like for the world of innovations, AI is one thing I'm actually fascinated with because
Mm-hmm.
especially with the introduction of ChatGPT, for a student like me, it has helped me a lot in order to make my work easier. It's not only about getting your assignments done on
Exactly, exactly, exactly.
mostly about gaining the knowledge, right? For
Mm-hmm.
something like if we had to invest like hours for a particular project or days for a particular project, now with the new search engine tools, the AI tools, that research
Exactly,
the research has gone down to like few hours or few minutes. It doesn't take that long
exactly.
to get insights into the world. So that aspect about AI is what really excites me. And even with accounting in itself is a boring profession, right? To be honest, but nowadays, even with the bigger companies like KPMG, they are integrating AI into their work, which is making maybe the tax processes more easier, maybe the audit
Mm.
processes more easier.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
one thing,
Yeah.
one another article that I have read is it helps someone like from a junior role to get into a senior partner or a managerial role. That transition itself with the introduction of AI has become more easier. Like now with the introduction of these technologies, people with minimal experience, they can be doing like bigger work, a managerial.
Yeah.
So that transition itself has gotten easier. So that thing about AI definitely excites me, and I feel like AI has its advantages and disadvantages too. people make, bad use of AI. And we have done multiple research and studies on how AI is can bring about negative consequences. So there needs
Yeah.
to be a
So the
balance. There needs to be, stability too.
exactly, and that's a matter of another discussion. But for example, me too. I think AI, artificial intelligence, but going into the humanoid robot, I see is much. I'm really excited about, and you were right about that also. Uh, yeah, I mean, look, this it has been amazing. And what about last thing about you having your own podcast with some other folks you are friends with? It's called Bhager Adda. So
Yeah.
guys, if you love cricket, my little brother cousin Samin Zarif here, they have a podcast called Bhager Adda about cricket. They discuss Bangladeshi cricket, national, international, national, domestic cricket, international cricket as well. Right now is a Border Gavaskar Trophy is happening in India, Australia, which is also amazing. So maybe say something about that to people and then invite them to watch you and listen to you guys about
Podcast.
cricket.
So yeah,
Yeah,
like we have been doing podcasts for the last 3 to 4 years, and when we started doing podcasts, there was not much sports podcast in Bangladesh, and after us, a lot of sports podcasts came in, and people they weren't, a lot, they didn't know a lot about podcasts. The culture wasn't there in Bangladesh, but we feel like we did something, revolutionary in terms of the sports podcast scene in Bangladesh, and we ended up having a lot of international guests, celebrities, cricketers,
yeah.
commentators in our podcast, which a lot of people couldn't do. So that's something different that we are doing. It's not only about us. We are letting the cricketers come to our podcast and share their stories as well. With
And maybe name a few top guests you had.
So
Someone you
we
were.
just in recent times we had the former South African all-rounder Wayne Purnell. He has played multiple
Oh,
records for South Africa. We have current Zimbabwe cricketer Ryan Pearl, who is like a big name going around in African cricket scene and playing a lot of franchise cricket too, getting insights from him. We had former Bangladesh captain Shahriar Nafiz. We had
wow.
current Bangladesh fast bowling coach Andrea Adams and former New Zealand cricketer and Australian coach came to our podcast. He's someone who coached guys like Mitchell Stark. So Mitchell Stark had like a very bad phase in 2019. He was the coach who made sure that his career is going in the right direction. So these are like very big names coming to our podcast. And I'm skipping a lot of names right now because it has been a long, long time. But a lot of big celebrities' names, journalists, ESPN Cricket Info journalists, commentators, and umpires. A lot of people has come to our podcast, and hopefully in the future too we'll be having a lot of new people too. And even recently, last yesterday, we had like the CEO of Dhaka Capitals, a franchise in BPL, come to our podcast and share about the business insights of running a franchise, of a sports franchise, the business and commercial perspective of how to make a franchise profitable. So we have like a lot of different type of people coming in.
Great, thank you so much for sharing that. This sounds really exciting. So, guys, because we were running late, so a lot to talk about. Maybe we'll have some in if he agrees later on for another in the future as well. So, thank you so much, Samin, for joining us. And guys, if you have any question about studying abroad, anything I can pass to Samin about to query, just comment and stay tuned, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, guys.
Okay.